is Dawg Pound Daily, and today we're diving into a massive, program-defining moment for the Cleveland Browns. A moment that signals something bigger than a contract extension, bigger than a roster move, and bigger than just another Thursday transaction. What happened today is a message, a statement, a declaration of where this franchise is headed and who they believe will carry them there. Because the Cleveland Browns, right in the middle of a long-term rebuild, just secured a cornerstone piece of their future by locking in breakout defensive end Alex Wright on a 3-year, $33 million extension. And this isn't just any extension. This isn't a depth signing. This isn't a placeholder. This is a signal fire. A moment where the Browns front office, led by Andrew Berry, said with their chest, "Our defensive identity is real, and we're building something permanent." If you've been following this team closely over the last 3 seasons, you know exactly how big this is. You know how badly the Browns have needed a strong, reliable running mate opposite Myles Garrett. You know how many attempts they've made to find that second edge presence. You know the constant rotation of names, the flashes of potential, the letdowns, the injuries, the fits that never fully clicked. But now, finally, Cleveland found the right guy. And that guy is Alex Wright. Let's rewind and put this entire story into perspective. Back in 2022, when the Browns selected Wright in the 3rd round out of UAB, most people didn't know what to think. Sure, he was big, long, explosive, one of the most intriguing athletes in his class. But his college production wasn't eye-popping. 90 total tackles, 11.5 sacks across 3 seasons. Solid, but not the type of stat line that screams future star. What did scream star was the potential, the traits, the measurables, 6'5", 271 pounds, and moving like a tight end. The kind of raw profile you take a chance on because if it hits big. His rookie season was quiet. 17 games, 28 tackles, a fumble recovery. Nothing spectacular, but that's normal. Not every pass rusher enters the league like Micah Parsons or Nick Bosa. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes the right coach. And that's exactly what happened in 2023 when Jim Schwartz walked into Berea and transformed the entire culture of Cleveland's defense. Under Schwartz, everything changed. The wide 9 system opened up angles, created mismatches, emphasized speed, leverage, and explosiveness. Myles Garrett became even more dominant, winning Defensive Player of the Year. Zadarius Smith flourished. Obo Okoronkwo had his moments. And Alex Wright? He finally woke up. 5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in 2023. A young pass rusher beginning to breathe fire. Then, 2024 hit him with a setback. A torn triceps. Only 4 games. In a contract year, that kind of injury can derail everything. Most players panic. Most players fade into the background. But not Wright. He attacked rehab like a veteran. He committed to his technique. He rebuilt his body. And when the 2025 season kicked off, he didn't just return. He ascended. Through the first 9 games of this season, Wright has 24 tackles and 3 sacks, and that stat line doesn't tell the full story. Because his presence has been felt in ways the numbers don't capture. Pressurous, disruptions, setting the edge, collapsing pockets from the backside, making life easier for Myles Garrett, who is somehow leading the entire NFL with 15 sacks. Yes, Myles Garrett is on pace for one of the best seasons by a pass rusher in modern history, and Alex Wright is a big part of why. When you command attention as the second edge rusher, when teams can no longer send 3 blockers to Garrett without paying the price, that's when a defense transforms. That's when a front 7 becomes unstoppable. And this year, for the first time in a very long time, the Cleveland Browns defense feels inevitable. And it's not just Garrett and Wright. This front 7 might be the youngest, deepest, and most dangerous unit the Browns have built in decades. First-round rookie defensive tackle Mason Graham has been a force, showing surprising polish and brute power. Rookie linebacker Carson Schwessinger has flashed elite instincts in sideline-to-sideline range. Combine that with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah playing the best football of his career, Shelby Harris providing veteran stability, and Grant Delpit anchoring the back end, and you have something that looks like a blueprint, not a fluke. This extension didn't come out of nowhere. It's a direct result of the philosophy this front office has been preaching. Build through the trenches, build through youth, build sustainably, and lock in the pieces that fit the long-term identity. The Browns have always had stars. What they lacked was continuity, stability, a system where talent develops year after year instead of resetting every season. But now, you look at this roster and see a defense that could realistically stay intact for the next 3 to 4 years. You see Myles Garrett, the centerpiece, surrounded by ascending players who match his intensity and football IQ. You see Alex Wright becoming exactly the kind of weapon Cleveland hoped for when they drafted him. You see a foundation, something this franchise hasn't truly had since the reboot in 1999. Let's be honest. Browns fans have lived through countless false dawns, flashy signings, big names, quick fixes. But what the Browns did here is not a gamble. It's not a splash move to hit headlines. It's a strategic, calculated, analytics-backed extension of a player who is just now entering his prime. A homegrown player who earned his place here. A pass rusher who fits perfectly next to Garrett and Schwartz's wide nine attack. This deal is smart, team-friendly, future-focused, and more importantly, it's a sign that the Browns finally understand who they are. They're a defense-first team with elite pass rush potential. They are a franchise that wins games by disrupting quarterbacks. They are a roster built to punish offenses, force turnovers, and dominate the trenches. And now, they are a team that refuses to let young stars walk out the door. Let me add this. Around the league, analysts are already reacting. Several insiders, including Dan Graziano and Mina Kimes, mentioned recently that Cleveland had quietly been exploring extensions for upcoming defensive pieces. And ESPN's Seth Walder ranked the Browns' front seven as one of the most efficient pass rush groups in football by advanced analytics. Cleveland isn't just good. They're trending upward in ways data can verify. This is how long-term contenders are built. This is how you stabilize a franchise. This is how you create a window, not one season at a time, but for years. Look, we know the offense has struggles. We know the quarterback situation has been bumpy. We know this season hasn't been the cleanest or the smoothest. But moves like this are how you weather storms. Defense travels. Defense wins cold weather games in December. Defense pushes you into the playoffs even when everything else is turbulent. The Browns didn't just extend Alex Wright today. They sent a message to Myles Garrett that he is not alone. They sent a message to the locker room that development is rewarded here. They sent a message to the fans that this rebuild is real and intentional. And they sent a message to the rest of the NFL that Cleveland's defense is here to stay. This is the kind of move that 5 years from now, we could look back on and say, this was the beginning, the turning point, the moment the Browns finally committed to building something sustainable and dominant on one side of the ball. So Browns fans, let me ask you, what do you think of this extension? Do you believe Alex Wright was the right player to secure long-term? Do you believe this front seven has the potential to become one of the best in the NFL for years to come? Let me know in the comments. And if you're excited about this new era of Browns defense, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Dawg Pound Daily, and stay connected for every update, every breakdown, and every moment that defines this franchise's future. Because the Browns didn't just pay a player today. They built the beginning of a dynasty, and we're here to cover every step of it.